universe, media, network, 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 network.
Welcome to the United States Women in Real Estate Investing podcast. My name is Jeune Ortiz. I'm the founder of REI Social, and I get to be the host of this amazing podcast where I get to interview rock star women who are in the world of real estate investing, like my next guest, Karina Pacific. Hello, Karina.
Hi. Happy Tuesday.
Yay. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you've been having a good week. Karina and I were just backstage a little bit before I hit record, and we were talking about a recent deal that she's putting together. She is a fix and flipper who has a ton of experience doing many different exit strategies, including just selling her flips, but also doing Airbnbs and things like that. And right now, Karina, you were telling me that you're really kind of focused right now on this specific deal where you're trying to get some funds pulled together to finish this out.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens. And thanks for having me. This is wonderful. You're doing for women. Love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, literally, we're just catching up with a dear friend of 30 years who is an investor himself. And all of a sudden comes in a call and says, so-and-so is looking for 500K. Well, we started with 300 and now she needs 500. And I knew exactly where to go. And it was just digging the information. Why do they need it? What's the collateral? For how long? What's the interest? And then the why. What does that look like? That, what's the home? What you're doing with it? What's the value of it? So it's just all this information while I'm having Mexican food and just trying to find the right person to take it to. And it's fun. It's fun because it's you get to get creative with
all the pieces,
all the little pieces together that matter when you're asking somebody for, 6 digits,
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's kind of dig in a little bit, because I know for investors everywhere, using private money is going to be one of the best ways to fund their deals.
Right.
And so how long have you been kind of, I guess in your business, that would be maybe one of your most primary responsibilities is raising capital so that you can do these deals?
Actually, I started that in COVID. So I've been in real estate on the retail end, luxury, South Bay, here in just south of LAX for 13 years. But I always knew that I was missing a big chunk of real estate, like the behind the scenes, just not the grabbing a listing, marketing it, doing the video and pictures and stuff like that. I knew there was like a big sort of world out there. And I got a coach. I came across this wonderful man that's still now a friend who has been doing it for many years, and he's gone through 2-3 recessions, he calls it. And he's taught me sort of just how to look for things differently, bank owned and foreclosures, notice of defaults, how to reach out to builders that are just sitting on product they can't finish, finding the money for all those different things. So does that answer your question?
Well, I mean, there's a lot there. So
yeah.
What sort of, I guess, because you're focused on the money end of things.
Yeah.
What landed you there? Was it just like out of necessity, like, hey, for the business, this is something I have to do? Or did you already have a list of potential people that put you in I guess maybe a really good position to find the funds?
So I think it happened by I think one of my favorite things in life is to be curious. If we're curious, we learn, and you just expand your mind and your business. And I just kept listening to clients of mine that on the retail end that they were now putting their money on new builds and new constructions, giving $500, $1 million for a certain amount of time, for a certain amount of percentage. And I was like, well, how does that work? And some were successful. And, if a new build is the money, 500, $1 million is needed for the build at the time, a year and a half. Some they're very happy with their profits. Some are not, because that build was not well marketed, whatever. And so I had a recent client said, my money could have gone made more profit elsewhere. I'm not really happy with what happened there. I'm going to look for a different scenario, maybe less. And sort of, it's just like hearing that information and how to get creative with a big chunk of money. So, and there's a lot of money here. So for instance, as we were talking about this lunch today, I said, okay, who would have $300,000 right now? And being where the network that I have here in the South Bay, and the networks that I have on, my networks that I meet with twice a week, I'm able to sort of put it out there and go, this is the scenario, this is what's needed for this long, this is the product, this is the final product, this is how soon we need it, So we get it fast or you lose it. And it could be a really good, investment opportunity.
Yes, 100%. So for an investor who may be just starting out and they want to find this private money, what would your advice be to give them? How do you begin this process?
For like somebody like me looking for private money, or I guess
just any investor who may be starting out and hasn't maybe even developed a list of private money yet, what is the best advice you could give them to start that process of finding people who have money to give?
Network, like just literally just get out there and network and be with those people that are doing it, and just listen, go to meetups and look for those sort of events and those meetings where people are getting together for those topics in different areas, because there's a ton of people out there with all kinds of from 30 to 50,000 all the way to millions. So just kind of get out there, and then from there you meet more people and you hop on sort of Zoom meetings with and you hear it's just kind of being in the mix of it, and just it's all networking, right? It's all meeting people and the right people, and I'd say just get out there in different facets of demographics, because you may need very little, you may need a lot. And that's a very different demographic, very different investor.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So RIAs, meetups, do you do any kind of virtual networking at all? Do you do anything through LinkedIn?
6:00 Wednesday meeting every Wednesday for years, since before COVID. And not my Wednesdays are my busiest ones, and I have 2 back-to-back with my national people that are doing a lot of investing too, doing flips in Chicago, doing flips in Colorado, and everybody's sort of pitching in their money. So it's very much teamwork. Which ones? I don't know why they all happen to be on Wednesday, but yes. Okay. At the end of the Wednesday, I'm like cross-eyed with all the Zoom meetings.
Yeah, I can imagine. And we're not even in COVID anymore. There's still so many Zoom meetings like us right now.
Because we get to collaborate with people all over the nation and help one another and advise one another, hear their scenarios of how they invested, what they found, what they're finding, the trends. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so speaking of trends, California is kind of a tricky place to do real estate. House values, we've got I feel like we have really diverse house values, right? Anything by the coast is exorbitant. And then after that, it just kind of plummets and ends up getting pretty low the further east you go.
Yes.
So tell me, do you enjoy doing business in California? Has it been profitable for you? Has it been good?
It's been good to me. Yes. And I've been very blessed in that I live in what we call the South Bay of LA. It's called the bubble. It's it's like 3-4 cities, and Manhattan Beach is, all the cities are very affluent. We have homes from, entry level is barely $1 million. You get lucky if you get $1 million. And we have strand homes on the beach that go all the way to 30 million. So it's a very profitable pocket. I do manage some rentals and rent them from time to time, and they're furnished, they're executive. So there's that sort of little income that comes in throughout, and sometimes they like to sell. So yes, it's been doing business here has been great for me. Plus it's by the beach, so I cannot complain. I'd like to do more business, more inland, like Colorado, Chicago, like where my colleagues are really doing some great work, and just kind of follow where people are moving to.
Okay. When they're leaving California?
Yes. It's funny that there's a lot leaving, there's a lot of coming in still.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of East Coasters that are coming our way. The grandparents wanting to be with the kids and their grandkids. There's all kinds of scenarios. Families wanting to be back together, and they will choose a beach city.
All right. So what brought you to California? Are you a native?
I was born and raised in Mexico. Came to America in '85. We went to Houston, Texas first for a couple of years, and then in '87 came to Los Angeles, and I lived in Los Feliz mainly by the Dodger Stadium area. Okay. And then in '99 I moved to the South Bay. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So are you fluent in Spanish?
Oh my God, I've lost it. I've lost not all of it, but I'm an embarrassment to my own language.
That's okay. So am I. My last name's Ortiz, and I speak Mexican menu really well. That's about as far as it goes.
That's great. That's awesome.
So let me ask you this. What are your favorite types of projects to work on? Because I know that you talked about doing some very expensive sales. I don't know if you do any luxury flips at all, or commercial. Kind of, where do you land there?
I've never done commercial. I think I probably won't go there anytime soon unless I'm really called to it. It's such a different animal. So, I love the retail end. I do love, selling. And I've come across a couple of sales in Manhattan Beach where it needed a lot of work. There's sadly, a lot of sort of parents passing, a lot of trust happening. So it's the last few projects I was able to suggest to my clients, let's clean it up, this declutter, empty it out, clean the carpet, paint, do some minor stuff that, maybe put in $50,000, $80,000 in there that will make the house more desirable. And the last one, if they had not done anything, it would have sold for 2.1. They put in about somewhere around 70, I think. And we were able to sell it for 2.9.
Wow, so, nice.
And it was
return on investment.
A very nice return. Yeah. And the 2.2 was based on the appraisal that they had initially, but it was really low. And that would have been, if they wouldn't have done the work, it just would not have presented itself well. And it's just about presentation, right? People need to see that they don't have to do a lot. They don't have, it takes time, it takes money, it takes effort and resources. So those are fun. Those are fun, kind of making it, do this, do that, or the other, and having their trust. That's very valuable to me. And then having them happy that they were like, oh, that was really worth it. That was a good return on investment. Those are fun. I used to do, when I first started real estate, I did the first 3 years short-term rentals. We handled about 20 plus properties, which kind of, distracted me from real estate. But I learned a lot about, we would rent homes for like $10,000 a weekend, and, or there were all kinds of different sizes and prices. And that was really interesting to kind of filter through people on VRBO and making sure that I was matching the right visitors, the right guests with the right house, the contract out, welcoming them, asking them where they're here from, and then turning those into potential clients if they had somebody that was moving to this area or not, or themselves. So that was really fun as well.
Okay.
And just the relationships at all. I love people, love good people, good, reasonable people. So anytime you're working with somebody in you, any project can be great because you're ultimately helping them.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I know one of your more recent things that you enjoy is actually talking to the motivated sellers themselves, and
Yeah.
offering assistance and being of help.
Yeah, which is something that I just found through my coach. That he's model and he doesn't believe in retail real estate, which is what I do. So I have to take the backseat of what my experience is. He loves just finding those properties that are left behind by banks, are left behind by the builders, which is happening a lot in the various areas of Mid-America, packaging things together. So that's really interesting. But for what he is having us, my colleague here, Vera and I, is kind of going to those notice of defaults that are popping up. They're really on the rise a little bit, and knocking on the door, sending them notes and go, it's a sensitive subject, but let's sit down and talk. How did you get here? How can we help? Like, what would you like to do? What would you like to see? Do you want to just leave it all together? So this after like somebody owes, or they're defaulted 50 grand plus. There's some that have defaulted all the way to $1 million, and they know how to work the system. So it's like, okay, you know how to work the system. Okay, but how far do you think that's going to carry you on? And what do you want to do? What's your ultimate game plan? So, for example, it's one of my colleagues has helped 2 elderly couples in, I think it was Illinois, somewhere, I forget where it was. And they were about to they had to, get out. They were defaulting. They were way under. And he just went in there and said, this is kind of what I can give you. And he gave a fair. It's not like you want to steal the property from somebody. You want to kind of, you're helping them out, but you also trying to find the right formula.
Right.
And
yeah.
what can you afford? You want to stay here? Do you want to move somewhere else? Do you need assistance? So he got it for a really good number. They're staying put, and they're able to pay a certain amount of money, and everybody's happy. And now he takes care of the property. They weren't able to take care of the property before. So it's just finding the right, let's have a conversation. How do we help you? And do you want to be helped?
Right. Yeah. They need to recognize that they need the help in the first place, I think.
It's hard. It's so hard because it's a very sensitive, almost embarrassing place to be. So I would tell, if there's somebody out there that is, kind of in hardship in some way or another, just find the right person. Just go with your gut feeling, somebody that you think this really has the right intentions, because there are people out there that want to help. And not just keep people out. There's a reason why somebody's defaulting. And yeah.
So did I hear you say correctly earlier that you actually do door knocking? So
Yeah.
Have you done that yourself? Door knocking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll door knock. I just went, I've been going to this one house several times, and it happens to be a friend of a friend. And I said, hey, tell your friend that we mean well, we want to help. And I've been knocking, and I know he's getting the notes, and he's just not calling. So I think he's just going to let it go to the bank. So I think we're just going to wait for it to hit the bank and maybe auction. But yeah, but we not sure. And we did another one. I don't particularly like it, but it has to be done.
Yeah. I know door knocking is not a favorite really of anybody, but I know it can be really effective. And also I think, as women, that's something that we're just so, I don't know, there's a little bit of fear and trepidation there, right? Going and knocking on somebody's door. You don't know how you're going to be received. You don't know if they're going to be angry with you. And that can be very frightening. Do you have any advice to give to women just to help them be safe, or just like, hey, just go for it and knock on the door? Yeah,
I would go with a buddy. I wouldn't go alone. So I have my dear friend Vera, and we go and we have a 2 or 3 that we hit once a week. Sometimes we skip a week depending on kind of like where we are in the process with those properties. But we just go with a buddy. I mean, we've been yelled at, and we've been, people are nice too, and we've gone to other people we had a scenario where we were very welcome, and they were actually really bummed that we were there 2 days too late because somebody had just taken advantage of them, and they were like in this scenario. We're like, so you just never know. Before on the retail end, I was door knocking with a friend, trying to get over that hump of door knocking. And I was just kind of like shadowing her, and a man walked out or he just opened the door naked. So you just never know what you're gonna get. That's where you got to go with a buddy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well,
I was like, why do you open your door? Put a towel on or something. I mean,
maybe that would be frightening enough. Oh my goodness.
But that's part of the fun.
So I know you've done a lot, and what would you say is one of the things that you wish you had known sooner that maybe you know now?
I wish I would have gotten a mentor or coaching earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that my first 3 years, I got distracted, and I made a lot of money, but I was distracted by the short-term rental business that I was asked to kind of help with, and it was so lucrative. I stayed in it a little bit longer than I should have. I'm like, oh my God, I'm 3 something years into real estate, and I haven't done any real estate. But I learned a lot. And then after those 3 years, I went solo into real estate. I should have gone into a team or had really kind of quested for a few mentors and coaching, and just dove in. So that would have been my advice to my younger realtor self.
Okay.
And I'd say interview the right coach, the right mentor, or the right team. Like, not everybody's for everybody. Like, interview them, because it's got to be cohesive. It's got to be good,
Yeah. That's great advice. I think getting mentoring is so important. There's only so much that you can do just studying and reading.
Yep.
You actually have to have somebody help you weave all of the different pieces together, because no two deals are going to be the same. And the more you know, the better you're going to be. And then, there's also so many complicated transactions too. When you have a mentor by your side, they can help walk you through the different paperwork. They can let you know, where to be careful and things like that. So I think that's really solid advice. Yeah.
Of course, I did see it because of my curiosity. There are some colleagues, or dear colleagues, that they don't even know they were mentoring me. I was just watching and listening. So, so it's just, if you're not finding it, just be with those people and watch and listen, and and just ask. And maybe I just didn't ask as well, So yeah.
Great advice. Now let me ask you this. What would you say is maybe your biggest failure or disappointment along the lines of real estate investing?
Investing, not having invested earlier, and just thinking that I was not sort of good enough, or that wasn't my part to do it. My job was to actually just be the professional, the realtor, but not thinking that I could actually get my hands wet as an investor,
Okay.
I think it's a little, just like anything, it's imposter syndrome. Just on the retail end, one of my biggest failures is somebody said to me, it was a referral, and they didn't want to sign a contract for the listing, but said, if you bring me a buyer, I'll sell it. And it would have been a $15 million property. And I just didn't think that I could do it. And then now I know I could have, because I have the network and I know how to do it. I just wasn't, it was just coming out of short-term rental. So I think I didn't switch my head quickly, but I think it was a little bit of imposter syndrome too. So I would just we can do anything, just ask for help.
Okay. Yeah. So that would be the advice that you'd give to other women who are perhaps sitting on the sidelines and having their own imposter syndrome moments
Yeah.
is just get some help. Surround yourself with the right people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And know that if somebody's throwing you an opportunity out there, don't take it for granted. That's out there for a reason. It's being thrown out there for a reason. Do not like take it for granted. Just explore it and just ask more details. Okay, so are you saying that if I bring you a buyer, you would sell it with me? Like have more clarity about it. Like reiterate what they're offering or what the opportunity is, and then just sort of carry with it and see where you can go with it. Go to somebody. There's always somebody you can reach out to. Go online, wherever it is. There's all kinds of networks. But sometimes our opportunities are thrown out to us and we don't think they belong to us or we could do it. And I don't know if it's maybe a combination of imposter syndrome or we're too busy. I don't know. I just, whenever an opportunity comes your way, don't take it for granted.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why this podcast is so important, I think, because there are a lot of men who are doing the business and they're doing it wonderfully, but there are not a lot of women who are doing it. And I think there are not a lot of role models and examples of women who are in the business and being successful and doing the hard things like the door knocking, because it's incredibly scary, especially when you have naked people answering the door.
Yeah. I mean, out of those uncomfortable things that we have to do in life, in whatever personal business or what have you, those are like the ones where you have the best stories and the best lessons.
Yes. Yeah. There are a lot of stories in real estate investing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You get to meet so many different people from all walks of life doing all kinds of amazing and crazy things with real estate. So it's fascinating.
Yeah. And I would just, I think I definitely have come out of my shell a lot more now, doing more of the investor stuff and doing more finding the money and stuff like that. But it's intimidating because you think, oh, what are the right questions to ask to the lender or to the investor? And are they going to take me serious? Is this much money? And, I've never been intimidated by people with money, but maybe a little bit just like not asking the right questions when I'm in that scenario. So I'm learned to just step outside of that and just go, listen, teach me, guide me, help me here, help me understand this. So then we can kind of put this together. And if they're not willing to be collaborative or teaching, then that's probably not the right person you want to work with.
Great advice. Yeah. And I think you said something like that earlier where, you have to have that curiosity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And that enables you to grow, because if you have an expert mindset, then you should know everything. Right. But if you are curious, then that opens yourself, or it doesn't open you up. Maybe it does. It allows you to ask questions of the people that you're with. And I think that's another place where, I don't know, where I get stopped sometimes is feeling like I should know something because I've been in the business for, 6 years. And so I should know everything, but
we can't because real estate is so complex. It's just, and like you said, no one deal's the same. And you get the retail line, you got the bank stuff, you got foreclosure. There's so much that we could not possibly know everything. And even the most knowledgeable person, my broker, where I hang my license, he's a very smart, knowledgeable person and great, almost father figure, great mentor, great professional. And he still goes there, like, I don't know this. And he'll just go and Google and call the attorney. And so he's open to not know. I mean, we don't know anything. We don't know everything. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How do you stay motivated? What keeps you so positive and energized?
Well, I love people. I love, I consider myself very blessed just coming from Mexico. I come from very, very humble beginnings. And one of the reasons I got into real estate, it was nagging at me. Even though I didn't start with that. I was mainly in the wellness, skincare, beauty industry. My mother in Mexico, she worked a lot, very hard to own her own property, and she bought a duplex. She rented one and we lived in the other. And when we were here in America, she rented both. And now she's back in Mexico, just living off of the income that she collected along the years back in her home. So I saw sort of that thing of like, in the honor that she garnered from owning her own piece of property, her land, that was her hard work. That is motivating. My daughter is very motivated. I have a 22-year-old who is a pretty cool kid. And I just like helping people. I like the process. I love the collaboration of different people in any transaction, in retail, talking to the plumber, to the stager, to the photographer, and organizing it all, putting it together and building those relationships to the investor end, just that kind of thing, getting creative and learning from them, because those are very smart people. When you're asking people for money, they obviously have money, and they're obviously they're smart. So yeah, it's just fun. That keeps me motivated.
Yeah, you love every aspect and enjoy every part of it. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And just always kind of having something, getting the call and like, oh, I'm looking for this. It's just nice. Yeah.
Are there any podcasts or books that you listen to on a regular basis to help keep you energized and keep your mindset in the right place?
A ton. Oh my God, a ton. On the real estate end, Big Pockets. Have you heard of Big Pockets?
Bigger Pockets, yeah.
Big Pockets. Oh my gosh. And the Tristan. This is actually a really good one. Let me look at it here. But there's a ton of them. Oh my gosh, forgive me. The Pumped.
The Meditation Minis podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Meditation?
Meditation too. This one I just found, REL Freedom. Is REL Freedom. In this podcast, it's all real estate stuff as well. Housing Wire Daily is really, really good. Yeah, all kinds of what else? Oh, the Real Estate Rock Stars. The Pomp podcast, POMP. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a local guy here that's actually really good. The Richard Haynes, but he's more local centric here for South Bay. Yeah. So yeah.
Good.
There's another.
That's a wealth of resources right there.
Oh my, there's another one that I love. Oh, obviously, oh my God, I'm having brain farts. Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry's really good.
Yeah, he's great.
Isn't he great?
Yeah, he is.
So there's a bunch of stuff.
That's good stuff. That's an incredible list of resources. So I appreciate you sharing that. And obviously you do some meditations as well.
Well, no, I just started. Like it's been called. Like I keep on getting just hit in my gut. Like you gotta meditate. You gotta meditate. Things keep on happening, and I think 2 days ago I'm like, I have to find a podcast to meditate. And my girlfriend and I were having dinner, and it came up in a conversation, which sort of further enhanced that gut feeling that I needed to do it. So I got to do it. It's only like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Meditation. Yeah. I mean, just making sure that you keep your mindset in the right place. I think is just, it's so important. It's so beneficial because I mean, this business is hard,
It's hard. The one thing I do every day is work out every day, Monday through Friday. I go to the gym and I get my workout in, and then, and I feel like that's the one thing I can control, because in real estate, so many things are out of your control, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's where kind of that mindset and the meditation come in, just acknowledging that you can't control everything. And, there's risk, and you have to just kind of learn how to balance it. Right. You have to know how to insulate yourself well enough. And then you just let things kind of unfold and deal with them as they happen.
Yeah. And just be flexible with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good advice. So let me ask you this. Where do you see yourself going from here? Like, what are your aspirations, your big goals?
For business-wise?
Yes, business-wise. You can answer me any otherwise as well.
I would like to own, like, uh, just more doors, along the way, just and find properties that I can kind of put a little bit of my touch in it, do some light renovations, not something crazy that is going to entail lots of time and permits. Put a little bit of touch in it, and then and rent them. Have doors that just have recurring money coming in. I would like to do a good big sort of new construction project here in the South Bay at some point, and that's been a tough one because a lot of the new construction stuff entails a lot of money. Like, we're talking 4 or 5
I
million.
can imagine.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, is that going to be maybe multifamily? Is that what you're kind of thinking?
No, single family.
Oh,
Single
okay.
family. Yeah. There's a lot of land that is just popping up in for new construction. It's just and I have a couple of builders that I love, like, and they're reputable. You know how you walk these properties, you're like, oh, so and so built it. It's good or bad. So
Yeah.
just make it something good, and so yeah, there's a bunch of different little things. Yeah.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
what's kind of your timeline? Is this like 5 years out there or 10 years out there?
3 to 5 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
3 to 5 years. That's great.
Yeah.
So we could be taking a virtual tour next time we
so.
talk of your new builds.
That would be amazing.
And that would be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we can all do it. It's just, having the resources and the drive and the confidence for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've asked you a lot of questions today, Karina. Is there anything that you wish I would have asked you that I didn't ask?
I would say there's a little unearthly. It could be a funny story. I don't know. In my retail land, and it actually happened to me twice in 2 homes. Being in the wellness industry and just being, so we women are very intuitive. We're in tune with, space and energy.
Yeah.
Whether you're in tune with it a little bit, not at all, or a lot, it's in us. It's in us. I had a income property, a 4-plex, that it just would not sell. It would not sell. We were a little bit overpriced, but there was crickets.
Okay.
And I remember that my client had told me that somebody had passed in the property many years ago. So it was past disclosure time and I said to him, I feel that the spirit is still in that room. I feel like she's in that room, one of the 4 bedrooms. There were 4 individual 1-bedrooms. And I feel she's here and she's not letting go. And I said, I'm going to have the house cleared. And he had no idea what I meant. He's like, I don't know what you mean. You do what you need to do, get it done. So the properties were, tenant occupied. I go and I ask the tenant to let me in her unit and let me my house whisperer, the house clear. She's like an intuitive healer. And we're going through there, every single room. And I knew it would be this one, but we're almost at the end of the session and no spirit comes through. She clears spaces and the spirit's not coming in. We're almost walking out and she says, wait, I'm being called, wait. And I'm just sitting there. And she goes to the room and she says, she's here. I feel somebody here. So she feels the spirit and she says she's saying thank you for acknowledging her. Thank you for taking care of the tenants. And she's ready to go. There was a little bit more involved, I guess she sends her off. She goes away and the spirit moves out. And 3 days later, 2 of the tenants give their 30-day notice. Now my client's upset. What did you do? Now we don't have 2 tenants.
They just realized they've been living with a ghost, for one.
So not only did you get rid of the spirit, you got rid of tenants.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that, we got the perfect offer. We got the offer in, and there were so many different issues in the property that we needed those tenants to be out of those units to get a bunch of the work done. So
Oh, wow.
it just kind of like how energy works and how it just one thing can just turn into another. And just, I guess is the moral of the story is feel the energy just like you feel people. You know, we kind of have to listen to each other to kind of fulfill their needs. And that includes the house. I mean, we're tending to homes, real estate that kind of inhabit the energy of the people, the occupants that were there. So
Yeah.
that
And you
applies.
said this happened to you twice, did you say?
Yeah, that was another one. The other one was
Wow.
she actually died peacefully in the property, and I kind of pursued the property, so I felt a little bit bad because I knew them and usually I'm here to help, but still, like I feel like I was being a little pushy. I didn't want to be that sort of salesperson, so I just had my clear gal come in and say, just make sure Sue is okay that I'm here selling her house respectfully, and yeah, she's like, she's good, and it sold within that weekend.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah. So I do
That's
have,
really incredible.
when I feel it, it doesn't happen every property or every project, but when I feel it calls like there's something here, then I will go that route.
How do you even find a house whisperer person?
You would find them easily in like California. We are very much into sort of that wellness, intuitive, higher healer spirit, that kind of stuff. Yes. Yeah. And she would actually, Mary Beth does them virtually. So if anybody needs some
virtually too?
Yeah, she does them virtually as well. Yeah. As long as you have a video or picture, if you're gonna do a video so you can kind of see the property through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, I didn't even know that was a thing. So you have just enlightened me.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions on that, reach out, which is an area I'm actually going to try and learn, because we go into these homes and we're kind of the energy of that properties, or we're kind of becoming one with them. So you just be careful. Like you come out of the home or the grocery store and stuff, and there's just too much energy and it just sucks you in. Just make sure you kind of like clean it off your body. And that's part of why we have to meditate and make sure we're in line. So we're not being, that's sort of the energetic field doesn't kind of get attached to us. Because sometimes you're like, what the hell was that? And then you're like drained, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I know there's obviously a lot of energy. That's why we meditate. That's why we, think about what we want instead of what we don't want and things like that. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Karina, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for enlightening me, for telling me about your business, and for helping all of our viewers just be more emboldened women to, just get in the business. Just do it, right?
Just do it. Listen to podcasts, read about it, or just be with the people that are doing it and ask questions. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for doing this. It's wonderful. Like women helping women. That's we need that. We need to support each other.
Yes, 100%. And that's part of the reason why I love doing this show, to meet people like you, and hopefully to inspire other women to just get into this business. It can be so fulfilling, and it's a business that helps a lot of people too.
It is. I mean, that's the goal, is to service above self,
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and close this out. I want to thank everybody here who has joined us for this episode of United States Women in Real Estate Investing. And remember to subscribe to the show on your favorite app. And if you want other podcasts and more industry news and information, head over to UnitedStatesRealEstateInvestor.com. And I will see you in the next episode.
Universe Media Mastering. Your audio more listenable.